Welcome to the online classes on fuzzy logic. So we will end up the unit number 2 today in this session by covering this last topic, that is the fuzzy equivalence relationship. So in the last session we discussed about these three properties need to be satisfied for a relation to be fuzzy equivalence relation. So first two has already been explained in the fuzzy tolerance relationship, and last one is going to be the transitivity relationship. So what is transitive relationship? Here it has to satisfy certain conditions. What are the conditions now? Let us see. So the membership function of the relation matrix for xi and xj is equal to, if it is taken as equal, lambda 1, and the membership function of the relation matrix for xj and xk is taken as equal lambda 2, which tends to something like and membership function of xi, that means the xi which I have used here has to come over here, and xk that I have used here should come over here. So in that sense we may take that particular value as lambda, and here the condition is that the lambda value should be compulsorily greater than or equal to minimum of lambda 1 lambda 2. If this is there for all the elements, if this particular property, if this criteria is going to get satisfied, then we say the transitivity property has been satisfied. So if all these three are satisfied, then only we say that the particular relation is going to be a fuzzy equivalence relation for us. Okay, so let us try to go for doing this problem now. Imagine that, let us say there is a fuzzy set given to us, there is a relational fuzzy set given to us as something like this. Now see the diagonal matrix. The diagonal matrix are all going to be 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. So since there is a unity in all the diagonal matrix, we simply call this particular thing is known as a reflexivity. So it is known as a reflexivity property. It is satisfying the reflexivity property. The next property should satisfy is going to be symmetry property. Symmetry means what? It is x1, x2 and x2, x1 should be same. x1, x3, x3, x1 should be same. x1, x4, x4, x1 should be same. Then x1, x5, x5, x1 should be same. So it is all same now. That means what now? This property is going to have the symmetry property. It's satisfying the symmetry property. So now since it is satisfying the symmetry and reflexivity, we can call this particular fuzzy set going to be called as a fuzzy tolerance relationship. Right, it is satisfying this relationship, and we call this fuzzy set is going to be a fuzzy tolerance relation matrix. So let us go into the next one, going to be fuzzy equivalence relation. Now let us extend this step for the fuzzy equivalence relationship. Okay, so for this, what is that we are going to have now here? Let us see. The membership function mu r of xi comma xj should be equal lambda 1, and the membership function of the relation matrix mu r of xj comma xk should be equal lambda 2. This should be xj comma xk, and which tends to mu r of xi. That means whatever xi that I have used here, that same xi has to be taken over here. Whatever xk you have used here, that same xk has to be used here, and that value is taken as equal to lambda, and this lambda should be compulsorily greater than or equal to minimum of this lambda 1 and lambda 2. If it is satisfied for all the elements in this particular relational matrix, then this particular matrix is going to satisfy the transitivity property. It is satisfying the transitivity property. Okay, so let us verify that now. Let's verify that particular property now. Okay, so mu r of x1 x2, what is mu r of x1 x2? This is mu r of x1 x2 is 0.8, and mu r of x2, see whatever j that is there, that j has to come over here, therefore x2 I have taken, and x3 has taken as equal to some k is taken as equal to 3. So therefore x2 x2 x3 is equal to 4. So this x2 x3 is equal to 4. The next mu r of x1 and x3, which is equal to 0.4, and this should satisfy the condition. This is called lambda now for us. This is known as lambda. Lambda should be greater than or equal to, this is lambda 1 and this is the lambda 2, greater than or equal to minimum of the lambda 1 and lambda 2. So thereby what we'll be getting? We'll be getting this minimum value is going to be what among these two? It is 0.4 only. So 0.4 greater than or equal to 0.4. Condition is true. Similar to that, we go with other elements like x2, x4, okay, x4, x5, x2, x5, like this. And similarly, we go for other elements like x3, x1, x1, x3, x3, x5, all these things. Now, when you simply compare, similarly for all other elements, when you compare, so it takes around time, it takes around 20 to 25 minutes time to really pick up all these values for all these relationships. So when all these values are going to satisfy this relationship, that is lambda greater than or equal to minimum of lambda 1 and lambda 2, then we say that it is satisfying the transitivity property. And in this problem, all these are going to get satisfied, and hence we say that this property, this particular relation is going to satisfy the transitivity property. So as it is satisfying the transitivity property, the R is going to be fuzzy equivalence relation that we can write it for this particular matrix R. Okay. So similarly, let us take up another problem which is taken as another problem where we test it for the fuzzy equivalence relation. Now see the diagonal matrix. Diagonal matrix is going to be 1. So therefore it is satisfying the reflexivity. The next you should satisfy the symmetry property. Symmetry means what? X1, X2 should be same as X2, X1. X1, X3 should be same as X3, X1. X1, X4, X4, X1 same. X1, XY should be same as XY, X1. It is same. That means what? It is satisfying the symmetry property. And hence this particular R can be called as a fuzzy tolerance relation. So diagonal matrix are satisfied with 1. So therefore it is satisfying reflexivity. Then next we go with other relation like now it is satisfying with all these various changes. Now this is, we are interchanging row and columns here. X1, X2. That means row 1 column 2 and row 2 column 1. It is going to be same. So like this, when you apply it for all the elements, we'll be getting the same relationship. So because of this property, that symmetry property is being satisfied, we simply call this as going to be a fuzzy relation set R, is known as a fuzzy tolerance relation, because it has satisfied two relations, two properties known as the reflexivity property and symmetry property. We simply call it, this particular relation, as a fuzzy tolerance relationship. So then next try to go with satisfying the transitivity property. So transitivity property means what? It is mu r of xi comma xj will take. So mu r of xi comma xj should be lambda 1, mu r of xj comma xk should be lambda 2, and mu r of xi comma xk is lambda, and it should satisfy the condition lambda should be greater than or equal to minimum of lambda 1 and lambda 2. So when you verify this condition, you normally going to have a situation where mu r of this one, when you take x1, x2, then x2, x5, I'll take, let us say 0.9. Then next x1, x5. What is x1, x5? It's going to be 0.2. 0.2 greater than or equal to minimum of these two. Minimum of 0.8 and 0.9 is 0.8. This condition is false. So hence, this condition is false. We say that this R does not satisfy the transitivity property. Now, since it does not satisfy transitivity property, we simply say that this R does not satisfy the Since R does not satisfy the transitivity property, we say R is not a fuzzy equivalence relation. R is not a fuzzy equivalence relation. So this is the conclusion which we can make based on the various criterias. Okay, after solving for various criterias, and we simply come to that particular conclusion that it is not going to satisfy all those things. Okay. Well, now after covering the various types of relationships, the relations that we have discussed on tolerance and equivalence, we have completed unit number 2. Now we enter into unit number 3, which comprises of the features of membership functions, fuzzification, the meaning of fuzzification, and features of the membership functions. Okay, so we discussed already about the membership functions. What is the primary difference between the crisp set and a fuzzy set? Fuzzy set is normally going to specify the belongingness of the value or outcome which we are going to get. In the case of crisp set, it is going to give only either true or false. It says that whether the element exists or element does not exist. Whereas in the case of fuzzy set, it is going to tell about the belongingness of the existence of a variable in the fuzzy set. That means, say for example, if say I want to say the color of an apple. In the case of crisp set, it says apple is, now we consider an apple which is going to be a red color. So if the apple is going to be red color, then crisp set says that whether apple is red or not red. That's all. Coming to the fuzzy set, it gives many other belongingnesses of the red color. So red is going to be, it's going to be a purely red. It is going to be slightly red. It is going to be, moderately red. It is going to be no red color. Okay. So it is going to be partially red. That means these are the various belongingness values of this particular red color attached to the apple. So here now what is the amount of belongingness of an apple you want to consider to buy? It depends on the nature of the apple that you normally going to have. So some apples are going to be purely red, some apples are going to be partially red, some apples are going to be moderately red. So like that, some apples are not at all going to be red, they are going to be in green color. So that means here there are various varieties of the red color colors in the apple. That means here apart from the apple, whether the value is going to exist or not, it gives the belongingness value. That belongingness is normally specified in terms of a membership function. There comes the value called membership function in the case of the fuzzy sets. So therefore the next concept in the third unit is going to be the what is called known as the features of the membership functions. Primarily there are going to be four features. The four are going to be the core, bounded, okay, normal feature, and next one is going to be the support feature. So these three are the main features, like feature called core, support, boundary features, and one more is going to be called as normal, which has been derived from these three features of the membership function. Okay, let us look into these features of these membership functions. So we understand the meaning of membership function. What is a membership function? The membership function signifies the belongingness of a value given in a fuzzy set. So that is what called basically membership function, right? So it has got three features. Main importantly, it has got three features. One is going to be the core, next is support, next one is boundaries. Okay. So these three features has been explained by using this particular graph. In this graph, if you see on y-axis, you're going to have a membership function varying with respect to x. X is going to be on x-axis. So x is independent variable, mu is going to be a dependent variable. So the value of mu depends on the value of x. Some function has been given to us here, which is going to be the membership function of a particular relation in a fuzzy set. Okay, so what is the relation and all, we really don't bother. It is something like, when you think about the spectrum of a signal, we don't bother about the shape is going to be a triangular shape, trapezoidal shape, or some other shape, or a, semicircle shape, whatever may be the shape it is. We are not interested in the shape of the spectrum of a signal. We're interested in only specifying about the concept with the help of the shape of the spectrum. It is similar to that. What is the shape of this? We don't bother. Shape could be anything. But only thing is we have to convey the concept of features of the membership function. That is what the main agenda or main concept which we normally going to have it over here to speak about features of the membership functions. Okay. So we take this particular relationship between the membership function and the values of x, something like this. And wherever we get the values in the relation matrix, which are all going to be equal to the core. That means core is nothing but maximum value of this membership function is going to be 1, minimum is going to be 0. So where if all the values are going to lie in this core only, we simply call this as going to be a core membership function, which is one of the feature of the core. And some other values which are going to lie between 0, entire boundary is called a support here. This entire thing is going to be a support. And boundary is going to lie between 0 and 1. This is, see here, this is 0 and 1 boundary. This is 1 and 0 boundary. So in this boundaries, if at all value is going to exist, we simply call as a boundary feature. Okay. And support is going to be there what now? It is greater than or equal to 0. So it means the values of a fuzzy relation, coming along with the membership function whose values are going to be greater than, that is mu of x greater than 0. Okay, greater than 0 is going to be called as a support feature. So these three features are very, very important features as far as features of membership functions are concerned. Okay, so in the next session, we'll discuss them in detail with the definitions and all. Okay, thank you very much for today's session.